chapters 21 through 31 of Job, American Standard Version. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information and to find out how you can volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Recording by Sam Stinson. Chapter 21. Then Job answered and said, Hear diligently my speech, and let this be your consolations. Suffer me, and I also will speak, and after that I have spoken. Mock on. As for me, is my complaint to man? And why should I not be impatient? Mark me, and be astonished, and lay your hand upon your mouth. Even when I remember I am troubled, and horror taketh hold on my flesh. Wherefore do the wicked live, become old, yea, wax mighty in power? Their seed is established with them in their sight, and their offspring before their eyes. Their houses are safe from fear, neither is the rod of God upon them. Their bull gendereth, and faileth not. Their cow calveth, and casteth not her calf. They send forth their little ones like a flock, and their children dance. They sing to the timbrel and harp, and rejoice at the sound of the pipe. They spend their days in prosperity, and in a moment they go down to Sheol. And they say unto God, Depart from us, for we desire not the knowledge of thy ways. What is the Almighty that we should serve him? And what profit should we have if we pray unto him? Lo, their prosperity is not in their hand. The counsel of the wicked is far from me. How oft is it that the lamp of the wicked is put out, that their calamity cometh upon them, that God distributeth sorrows in his anger, that they are as stubble before the wind, and as chaff that the storm carrieth away. Ye say, God layeth up his iniquity for his children. Let him recompense it unto himself, that he may know it. Let his own eyes see his destruction, and let him drink of the wrath of the Almighty. For what careth he for his house after him, when the number of his months is cut off? Shall any teach God knowledge, seeing he judgeth those that are high? One dieth in his full strength, being wholly at ease and quiet. His pails are full of milk, and the marrow of his bones is moistened. And another dieth in bitterness of soul, and never tasteth of good. They lie down alike in the dust, and the worm covereth them. Behold, I know your thoughts, and the devices wherewith ye would wrong me. For ye say, Where is the house of the prince? And where is the tent wherein the wicked dwelt? Have ye not asked wayfaring men, and do ye not know their evidences, that the evil man is reserved to the day of calamity, that they are led forth to the day of wrath? Who shall declare his way to his face, and who shall repay him what he hath done? Yet shall he be borne to the grave, and men shall keep watch over the tomb. The clods of the valley shall be sweet unto him, and all men shall draw after him, as there were innumerable before him. How then comfort ye me in vain, seeing in your answers there remaineth only falsehood? End of chapter 21. Chapter 22. Then answered Eliphaz the Temanite, and said, Can a man be profitable unto God? Surely he that is wise is profitable unto himself. Is it any pleasure to the Almighty that thou art righteous? Or is it gain to him that thou makest thy ways perfect? Is it for thy fear of him that he reproveth thee, that he entereth with thee into judgment? Is not thy wickedness great? Neither is there any end to thine iniquities. For thou hast taken pledges of thy brother for naught, and stripped the naked of their clothing. Thou hast not given water to the weary to drink, and thou hast withholden bread from the hungry. But as for the mighty man, he had the earth, and the honorable man, he dwelt in it. Thou hast sent widows away empty, and the arms of the fatherless have been broken. Therefore snares are round about thee, and sudden fear troubleth thee, or darkness, so that thou canst not see, and abundance of waters cover thee. Is not God in the height of heaven? And behold, the height of the stars, how high they are. And thou sayest, What doth God know? Can he judge through the thick darkness? Thick clouds are a covering to him, so that he seeth not, and he walketh on the vault of heaven. Wilt thou keep the old way which wicked men have trodden, who were snatched away before their time, whose foundation was poured out as a stream? Who said unto God, Depart from us, and what can the Almighty do for us? Yet he filled their houses with good things. But the counsel of the wicked is far from me. The righteous see it, and are glad, and the innocent laugh them to scorn, saying, Surely they that rise up against us are cut off, and the remnant of them the fire hath consumed. Acquaint now thyself with him, and be at peace. Thereby good shall come unto thee. Receive, I pray thee, the law from his mouth, and lay up his words in thy heart. If thou return to the Almighty, thou shalt be built up. If thou put away unrighteousness far from thy tents, and lay thou thy treasure in the dust, and the gold of Ophir among the stones of the brooks, and the Almighty will be thy treasure, and precious silver unto thee. For then shalt thou delight thyself in the Almighty, and shalt lift up thy face unto God. Thou shalt make thy prayer unto him, and he will hear thee. And thou shalt pay thy vows. Thou shalt also decree a thing, and it shall be established unto thee, and light shall shine upon thy ways. When they cast thee down, thou shalt say, There is lifting up, and the humble person he will save. He will deliver even him that is not innocent. Yea, he shall be delivered through the cleanness of thy hands. End of chapter 22. Chapter 23. Then Job answered and said, Even today is my complaint rebellious. My stroke is heavier than my groaning. Oh, that I knew where I might find him, that I might come even to his seat. I would set my cause in order before him, and fill my mouth with arguments. I would know the words which he would answer me, and understand what he would say unto me. Would he contend with me in the greatness of his power? Nay, but he would give heed unto me. There the upright might reason with him. So should I be delivered for ever from my judge. Behold, I go forward, but he is not there, and backward, but I cannot perceive him. On the left hand when he doth work, but I cannot behold him. He hideth himself on the right hand, that I cannot see him. But he knoweth the way that I take. When he hath tried me, I shall come forth as gold. My foot hath held fast to his steps. His way have I kept, and turned not aside. I have not gone back from the commandment of his lips. I have treasured up the words of his mouth more than my necessary food. But he is in one mind, and who can turn him? And what his soul desireth, even that he doeth. For he performeth that which is appointed for me, and many such things are with him. Therefore am I terrified at his presence. When I consider, I am afraid of him. For God hath made my heart faint, and the Almighty hath terrified me. Because I was not cut off before the darkness, neither did he cover the thick darkness from my face. End of chapter 23. Chapter 24. Why are times not laid up by the Almighty? And why do not they that know him see his days? There are that remove the landmarks. They violently take away flocks, and feed them. They drive away the ass of the fatherless. They take the widow's ox for a pledge. They turn the needy out of the way. The poor of the earth all hide themselves. Behold, as wild asses in the desert, they go forth to their work, seeking diligently for food. The wilderness yieldeth them bread for their children. They cut their provender in the field, and they glean the vintage of the wicked. They lie all night naked without clothing, and have no covering in the cold. They are wet with the showers of the mountains, and embrace the rock for want of a shelter. There are that pluck the fatherless from the breast, and take a pledge of the poor, so that they go about naked without clothing, and being hungry they carry the sheaves. They make oil within the walls of these men. They tread their winepresses, and suffer thirst. From out of the populous city men groan, and the soul of the wounded crieth out. Yet God regardeth not the folly. These are of them that rebel against the light. They know not the ways thereof, nor abide in the paths thereof. The murderer riseth with the light. He killeth the poor and needy, and in the night he is as a thief. The eye also of the adulterer waiteth for the twilight, saying, No eye shall see me, and he disguiseth his face. In the dark they dig through houses, they shut themselves up in the daytime, they know not the light. For the morning is to all of them as thick darkness, for they know the terrors of the thick darkness. Swiftly they pass away upon the face of the waters, their portion is cursed in the earth. They turn not into the way of the vineyards. Drought and heat consume the snow waters, so doth Sheol those that have sinned. The womb shall forget him, the worm shall feed sweetly on him. He shall be no more remembered, and unrighteousness shall be broken as a tree. He devoureth the barren that beareth not, and doeth not good to the widow. Yet God preserveth the mighty by his power. He riseth up that hath no assurance of life. God giveth them to be in security, and they rest thereon, and his eyes are upon their ways. They are exalted, yet a little while, and they are gone. Yea, they are brought low. They are taken out of the way as all others, and are cut off as the tops of the ears of grain. And if it be not so now, who will prove me a liar, and make my speech nothing worth? End of chapter 24. Chapter 25. Then answered Bildad the Shuhite, and said, Dominion and fear are with him. He maketh peace in his high places. Is there any number of his armies, and upon whom doth not his light arise? How then can man be just with God? Or how can he be clean that is born of a woman? Behold, even the moon hath no brightness, and the stars are not pure in his sight. How much less man that is a worm, and the Son of Man that is a worm. End of chapter 25. Chapter 26. Then Job answered and said, How hast thou helped him that is without power? How hast thou saved the arm that hath no strength? How hast thou counseled him that hath no wisdom, and plentifully declared sound knowledge? To whom hast thou uttered words, and whose spirit came forth from thee? They that are deceased tremble beneath the waters and the inhabitants thereof. Sheol is naked before God, and Abaddon hath no covering. He stretcheth out the north over empty space, and hangeth the earth upon nothing. He bindeth up the waters in his thick clouds, and the cloud is not rent under them. He encloseth the face of his throne, and spreadeth his cloud upon it. He hath described a boundary upon the face of the waters, unto the confines of light and darkness. The pillars of heaven tremble, and are astonished at his rebuke. He stirreth up the sea with his power, and by his understanding he smiteth through Rahab. By his spirit the heavens are garnished. His hand hath pierced the swift serpent. Lo, these are but the outskirts of his ways, and how small a whisper do we hear of him. But the thunder of his power, who can understand? End of chapter 26. Chapter 27. And Job again took up his parable, and said, As God liveth, who hath taken away my right, and the Almighty, who hath vexed my soul, for my life is yet whole in me, and the Spirit of God is in my nostrils. Surely my lips shall not speak unrighteousness, neither shall my tongue utter deceit. Far be it from me that I should justify you. Till I die, I will not put away mine integrity from me. My righteousness I hold fast, and will not let it go. My heart shall not reproach me so long as I live. Let mine enemy be as the wicked, and let him that riseth up against me be as the unrighteous. For what is the hope of the godless, though he get him gain, when God taketh away his soul? Will God hear his cry when trouble cometh upon him? Will he delight himself in the Almighty, and call upon God at all times? I will teach you concerning the hand of God. That which is with the Almighty will I not conceal. Behold, all ye yourselves have seen it. Why then are ye become altogether vain? This is the portion of a wicked man with God, and the heritage of oppressors, which they receive from the Almighty. If his children be multiplied, it is for the sword, and his offspring shall not be satisfied with bread. Those that remain of him shall be buried in death, and his widows shall make no lamentation. Though he heap up silver as the dust, and prepare raiment as the clay, he may prepare it, but the just shall put it on, and the innocent shall divide the silver. He buildeth his house as the moth, and as a booth which the keeper maketh. He lieth down rich, but he shall not be gathered to his fathers. He openeth his eyes, and he is not. Terrors overtake him like waters. A tempest stealeth him away in the night. The east wind carrieth him away, and he departeth, and it sweepeth him out of his place. For God shall hurl at him, and not spare. He would fain flee out of his hand. Men shall clap their hands at him, and shall hiss him out of his place. End of chapter 27. Chapter 28. Surely there is a mine for silver, and a place for gold, which they refine. Iron is taken out of the earth, and copper is molten out of the stone. Man setteth an end to darkness, and searcheth out to the furthest bound the stones of obscurity and of thick darkness. He breaketh open a shaft away from where men sojourn. They are forgotten of the foot. They hang afar from men. They swing to and fro. As for the earth, out of it cometh bread, and underneath it is turned up as it were by fire. The stones thereof are the place of sapphires, and it hath dust of gold. That path no bird of prey knoweth, neither hath the falcon's eye seen it. The proud beasts have not trodden it, nor hath the fierce lion passed thereby. He putteth forth his hand upon the flinty rock. He overturneth the mountains by the roots. He cutteth out channels among the rocks, and his eye seeth every precious thing. He bindeth the streams that they trickle not, and the thing that is hid bringeth he forth to light. But where shall wisdom be found? And where is the place of understanding? Man knoweth not the price thereof, neither is it found in the land of the living. The deep saith, It is not in me, and the sea saith, It is not with me. It cannot be gotten for gold, neither shall silver be weighed for the price thereof. It cannot be valued with the gold of Ophir, with the precious onyx or the sapphire. Gold and glass cannot equal it. Neither shall it be exchanged for jewels of fine gold. No mention shall be made of coral or of crystal. Yea, the price of wisdom is above rubies. The topaz of Ethiopia shall not equal it, neither shall it be valued with pure gold. Whence then cometh wisdom? And where is the place of understanding? Seeing it is hid from the eyes of all living, and kept close from the birds of the heavens. Destruction and death say, We have heard a rumor thereof with our ears. God understandeth the way thereof, and he knoweth the place thereof. For he looketh to the ends of the earth, and seeth under the whole heaven, to make a weight for the wind. Yea, he meteth out the waters by measure, when he made a decree for the rain, and a way for the lightning of the thunder. Then did he see it, and declare it. He established it, yea, and searched it out. And unto man he said, Behold, the fear of the Lord, that is wisdom, and to depart from evil is understanding. End of chapter 28. Chapter 29. And Job again took up his parable, and said, Oh, that I were as in the months of old, as in the days when God watched over me, when his lamp shined upon my head, and by his light I walked through darkness. As I was in the ripeness of my days, when the friendship of God was upon my tent, when the Almighty was yet with me, and my children were about me. When my steps were washed with butter, and the rock poured me out streams of oil. when I went forth to the gate unto the city, when I prepared my seat in the street, the young men saw me and hid themselves, and the aged rose up and stood. The princes refrained from talking, and laid their hand on their mouth. The voice of the nobles was hushed, and their tongue cleaved to the roof of their mouth. For when the ear heard me, then it blessed me. And when the eye saw me, it gave witness unto me. Because I delivered the poor that cried, the fatherless also, that had none to help him. The blessing of him that was ready to perish came upon me, and I caused the widow's heart to sing for joy. I put on righteousness, and it clothed me. My justice was as a robe and a diadem. I was eyes to the blind, and feet was I to the lame. I was a father to the needy, and the cause of him that I knew not I searched out. And I brake the jaws of the unrighteous, and plucked the prey out of his teeth. Then I said, I shall die in my nest, and I shall multiply my days as the sand. My root is spread out to the waters, and the dew lieth all night upon my branch. My glory is fresh in me, and my bow is renewed in my hand. Unto me men gave ear and waited, and kept silence for my counsel. After my words they spake not again, and my speech distilled upon them. And they waited for me as for the rain, and they opened their mouth wide as for the latter rain. I smiled on them when they had no confidence, and the light of my countenance they cast not down. I chose out their way, and sat as chief, and dwelt as a king in the army, as one that comforteth the mourners. End of chapter 29. Chapter 30. But now they that are younger than I have me in derision, whose fathers I disdain to set with the dogs of my flock. Yea, the strength of their hands, whereto should it profit me? Men in whom ripe age is perished. They are gaunt with want and famine. They gnaw the dry ground in the gloom of wasteness and desolation. They pluck saltwort by the bushes, and the roots of the broom are their food. They are driven forth from the midst of men. They cry after them as after a thief. So that they dwell in frightful valleys, in holes of the earth and of the rocks. Among the bushes they bray. Under the nettles they are gathered together. They are children of fools, yea, children of base men. They were scourged out of the land. And now I am become their song. Yea, I am a byword unto them. They abhor me. They stand aloof from me, and spare not to spit in my face. For he hath loosed his cord, and afflicted me, and they have cast off the bridle before me. Upon my right hand rise the rabble. They thrust aside my feet, and they cast up against me their ways of destruction. They mar my path, they set forward my calamity, even men that have no helper. As through a wide breach they come, in the midst of the ruin they roll themselves upon me. Terrors are turned upon me, they chase mine honour as the wind, and my welfare is passed away as a cloud. And now my soul is poured out within me. Days of affliction have taken hold upon me. In the night season my bones are pierced in me, and the pains that gnaw me take no rest. By God's great force is my garment disfigured. It bindeth me about as the collar of my coat. He hath cast me into the mire, and I am become like dust and ashes. I cry unto thee, and thou dost not answer me. I stand up, and thou gazest at me. Thou art turned to be cruel to me. With the might of thy hand thou persecutest me. Thou liftest me up to the wind. Thou causest me to ride upon it, and thou dissolvest me in the storm. For I know that thou wilt bring me to death, and to the house appointed for all the living. Howbeit doth not one stretch out the hand in his fall, or in his calamity therefore cry for help? Did not I weep for him that was in trouble? Was not my soul grieved for the needy? When I looked for good, then evil came, and when I waited for light, there came darkness. My heart is troubled, and resteth not. Days of affliction are come upon me. I go mourning without the sun. I stand up in the assembly and cry for help. I am a brother to jackals, and a companion to ostriches. My skin is black, and falleth from me, and my bones are burned with heat. Therefore is my harp turned to mourning, and my pipe into the voice of them that weep. End of chapter 30. Chapter 31. I made a covenant with mine eyes. How then should I look upon a virgin? For what is the portion from God above, and the heritage from the Almighty on high? Is it not calamity to the unrighteous, and disaster to the workers of iniquity? Doth not he see my ways, and number all my steps? If I have walked with falsehood, and my foot hath hasted to deceit, let me be weighed in an even balance, that God may know mine integrity. If my step hath turned out of the way, and my heart walked after mine eyes, and if any spot hath cleaved to my hands, then let me sow, and let another eat. Yea, let the produce of my field be rooted out. If my heart hath been enticed unto a woman, and I have laid wait at my neighbour's door, then let my wife grind unto another, and let others bow down upon her. For that were a heinous crime. Yea, it were an iniquity to be punished by the judges. For it is a fire that consumeth unto destruction, and would root out all mine increase. If I have despised the cause of my manservant or of my maidservant, when they contended with me, what then shall I do when God riseth up? And when he visiteth, what shall I answer him? Did not he that made me in the womb make him? And did not one fashion us in the womb? If I have withheld the poor from their desire, or have caused the eyes of the widow to fail, or have eaten my morsel alone, and the fatherless hath not eaten thereof. Nay, from my youth he grew up with me as with a father, and her have I guided from my mother's womb. If I have seen any perish for want of clothing, or that the needy had no covering, if his loins have not blessed me, and if he hath not been warmed with the fleece of my sheep, if I have lifted up my hand against the fatherless, because I saw my help in the gate, then let my shoulder fall from the shoulder blade, and mine arm be broken from the bone. For calamity from God is a terror to me, and by reason of his majesty I can do nothing. If I have made gold my hope, and have said to the fine gold, Thou art my confidence; if I have rejoiced because my wealth was great, and because my hand had gotten much; if I have beheld the sun when it shined, or the moon walking in brightness, and my heart hath been secretly enticed, and my mouth hath kissed my hand, this also were an iniquity to be punished by the judges. For I should have denied the God that is above. If I have rejoiced at the destruction of him that hated me, or lifted up myself when evil found him, yea, I have not suffered my mouth to sin by asking his life with a curse. If the men of my tent have not said, Who can find one that hath not been filled with his meat? The sojourner hath not lodged in the street, but I have opened my doors to the traveller. If like Adam I have covered my transgressions, by hiding mine iniquity in my bosom, because I feared the great multitude, and the contempt of families terrified me, so that I kept silence, and went not out of the door. Oh, that I had one to hear me! Lo, here is my signature, let the Almighty answer me. And that I had the indictment which mine adversary hath written. Surely I would carry it upon my shoulder. I would bind it unto me as a crown. I would declare unto him the number of my steps. As a prince would I go near unto him. If my land crieth out against me, and the furrows thereof weep together, if I have eaten the fruits thereof without money, or have caused the owners thereof to lose their life, let thistles grow instead of wheat, and cockle instead of barley. The words of Job are ended. End of chapter 31.